All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition, another episode of Past the Rock Podcast. It's been a while. It's been a long summer. It's hot. It's crazy out here in Texas. I don't know about y'all. But today I got a special guest. You know, he's our local star here in Mansfield, Arlington, Lubbock, Dallas, Houston. DJ Osagie, whatever you call him. How's it going, bro?
Hey, man. I'm doing good.
How's the summer been for you, bro?
It's been a long summer. But I've been able to, feel every day. You know, sometimes summer, you just wake up and it's over. I feel like I've had a long, packed summer.
See, I don't think the same. I think summer's been pretty short. Because I feel like all summer, I've been, occupied with doing something or the other. And, it's not even, sometimes it's just random stuff. It might not be productive at all. But, I feel like the summer's gone by really fast for me because it's already August right now. Summer's pretty much over. Everyone was talking about it's going to be a crazy summer. It's going to be a shicey summer. Summer's over. It's now we're going into the fall. But I guess from that, talk about last summer, how, this time last summer, we're in a whole completely different place. There was no parties, really. There was no big events. Everything was kind of small. So talk to me about how that affected DJing for you.
Well, it affected me personally more than, of course, DJ-wise, I wasn't able to perform. But that affected me personally. Mm-hmm. It was a long summer of just me, we're all in the house, we're all, going through quarantine together, but it was just, I think, me being on the run that I was on, I guess spring semester and before that, and getting used to DJing every week and things like that, I felt like a part of me was kind of missing, and it's you don't know what to do with your time, you don't know what exactly, how long am I going to be in the house? When's the next time I'm going to be back DJing? And how is it going to be different? All those kind of things, those thoughts enter your mind. But it was a very different time than where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. I've grown for sure. Me having that time to myself to not DJ definitely shifted how I view it. Yeah. It gave me time to miss it, if that makes sense. And so I don't take it for granted. But now it's also, not only do I not take it for granted, I have a different direction, or I'm thinking bigger in terms of the things that I feel like can get done through DJing.
So even to begin with, what made you even get into DJing? Because at what point in time were you just man, this DJing thing sounds kind of something that I'm interested in? What even made you start, I guess, practicing the whole act of DJing in general?
So it's an interesting story. I've always loved music. I grew up in a music-loving household. Both of my sisters were in choir, played instruments, competitively, actually. Mm-hmm. And there was always music in my house. So I've always been a music lover throughout high school. That was what kind of kept me company in a way. But long story short, I always liked music. And then, Sos. Yeah. Sos was, me and Sos would always talk about music in general, but then he started getting into DJing. We would both say, I would be saying, I kind of want to get into DJing, but I would never do it. Sos actually got up and did it. Unfortunately, he passed away prematurely. But I'll never forget when he told me, when I would tell him I want to DJ, he'd be like, dude, shut up. You're not going to do it. If you're not going to do it, stop saying it. Yeah. That's what he would drill into my head. So I just stopped saying it. And then he passed away, and I kind of took it for a different lesson. Instead of just, if you're not going to do it, stop saying it, more so, why not just do it?
Because you never know,
where it can get you.
Got, or where it could get you. So if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure you started getting into this DJ stuff spring of 2019, mainly, I'm pretty sure. Or was it later?
Yeah, spring 2019. That was when I first started DJing, first turntables. Shout out to Z. He gave me my first turntables. True. But it quickly ramped up into, it's one of those things where that time at Tech, after Sos passed, it was kind of a void of anyone wanting to do anything. We're all kind of just in that same slump, I feel like. But before Sos passed, him, I, and my roommates, EJ and Debo, we planned on throwing an event.
Yeah.
Never got to it. He passed away. We were all just kind of shook by that, but we decided that it's only right for us to still do it. And graduation for spring semester was the next opportunity. And so that was the first time I DJ'd publicly for an actual event, and we put it together ourselves. And it was a great event. Well, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great event. But, like, I'm not, like, even speaking on Soul's, like Soul's passing is probably one of the, like, even just looking at Tech, you could just feel, like, the whole campus, like, at least for, like, the black community and people who, like, knew who it was, like, the whole community just kind of shut down for, like, a few weeks. And it was just, like, it's like that point in time, like, when I think back at it, bro, like, because being honest, like, me and Sos were not, like, super close, so, like, I wouldn't say he was, like, you know, my best friend, but it's like someone like Sos was, like, kind of that person that everybody knew, like, you know, everyone who Sos was, like, he was kind of that kind of person who kind of makes people feel included all the time, like, even, like, at events and everything. So, yeah, that definitely shut down the whole campus, like, in general. But, like, speaking on that, how did you fight through that grief to find motivation? Because, you know, there's so many people, like, grief leads them to a different path. Like, it leads them to a very dark road, and, like, some people never make it out of that. Even though we see a lot of people who use that as motivation and it's like a time to, like, strive hard for these people, but it's harder than it looks. So what was it that just kept you pushing, that made you, like, come out that slump that we all know, like, everyone was in? Like, how did you get out of that?
I think I started getting closer to Sos probably not too long before that. Like, I wouldn't say we had the longest relationship, but that whole school year we spent multiple days every week. He was always at our house. He'll be practicing our house. So it's like when you see that and you see the drive someone else has, and then you see their life get taken away too soon, it's like, you know, at a young age, you start to think about things like, okay, how long do I have left? And those kind of questions start to ring in your head. And then combined with the drive of someone else, seeing them, it's like, okay, if it was like he was onto something and he got taken away from him. So it's like, why would I waste the time I have? And I have time, you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But yeah, long live Sos though. He's for sure what has kept me like it's a North Star for me to think, okay, why would I give it up if I know I have passion for it? And I know that if he was still here and it was different, he wouldn't give up on it. So one of those things.
Actually, it's really crazy to think about, man. Like, so much could have happened. So talk to me about that transition from spring to fall 2019, because, I mean, we know you kind of went from that, you kind of went from, trying to practice your craft, especially all through the summer. And then, you had a few gigs in Dallas over that summer. But talk to me about that point in time when you realized, because, I mean, at least I personally think at some point in time, you kind of realized that you were kind of that go-to DJ at Tech. And it's like, a lot of people, like, as a DJ in a certain city or in a certain school, you want to be that guy that's like, okay, this is usually like our number one option type stuff. And, like, I could say at least you were at least one of the top options at Tech. So getting to that point, like, what did it do for you as a DJ?
So first event was graduation weekend. So that was my beginning to my actual DJ career, was the end of the school year. A lot of DJs, it's sometimes easier to start slow, do house parties in college. There's that community and that engagement to where you already know there's always going to be at least a group of people to DJ to. Yeah. But I feel like a strong start with graduation weekend led me, and then me also knowing enough people in Dallas and Tech having the influence that it has when it comes to Dallas and the party culture or the nightlife culture when it comes to people that have graduated from college. A lot of them that party graduated from Tech. So it's like I have all these people that love to party. We're all from the same city. So it's like, keep it rolling. It was that easy to keep it rolling through the summer. Then I was doing a lot of house parties. I was hitting people up. You got a house party? Let me do it. You got a house party? Let me do it. That was practice, but more so exposure, trying to meet, get out, and stuff like that. So that was the whole summer, just me reaching out, trying to get wherever I can get to DJ. But translating into the fall, I have this momentum. So I started spring, and it looks like, from the outside looking in, it looks like there's no slow moment.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing something, I'm at least doing a house party. So fall comes, and my good friends, Crim City Noose, y'all boys hit me up.
Oh my God.
Told me, y'all got a pool party for me. So I'm looking at it like, okay, it's my first event back. This is like okay, yeah, you got one hit, but do it again. Mm-hmm. So that was my moment to say, all right, yeah, let me really show these niggas that I can do it.
Got this.
So that was, to this day, I still hear that was one of the best parties since my sophomore year.
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you, like, thinking about it, like COVID, like everyone always says this, like I feel like COVID really came and took something good away, because think about, like, for me, I hadn't had that much fun, like the transition from fall 2019, obviously there was like random weekends where it's just like, what's going on, but it's like transition from fall 2019 to like spring 2020 was perfect. It was like fall 2019 welcome week was the best welcome week I'd had since my freshman year, because the past 2 years it was kind of like up and down type stuff, and like fall 2019 everything was just perfect. Like I got to go out almost every time throughout the weekend. It was just a great vibe. But like I feel like coming into spring 2019, COVID just kind of ruined everything. Like literally after that whole also fun day that happened in Lubbock, it was like, I just remember everyone was just like, oh yeah, this semester's gonna be crazy. Like we're gonna have like parties, day parties, Sunday fun day. Cause I feel like that brought in, like, cause obviously Sunday fun day is already thin in Dallas. Like everyone knows that. In Houston, I mean, they do something on Sundays. But like in Lubbock, obviously it's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's like, I mean, it's Lubbock. What are you gonna do on Sunday?
Yeah.
But it's like that whole thing kind of transcended into that whole, okay, maybe we can find a place to go on Sunday or some Sundays type stuff. And everyone was excited for that. And like COVID.
I think I don't like to toot my own horn, but what I noticed is I did also Sundays, right? And it was a good event. And like you said, that culture already exists in Dallas.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a thing in the Texas college scene.
Yeah.
I did also Sundays. I started hearing chatter about this. Really, what happened was I announced it. Then someone else announced one at Tech. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Then UNT announced one. Then,
Yeah.
And I view it as like, that's love to me, because it's like, okay, at least I know people are watching. But
would you say like that's like setting a trend? Or is it like, well, not setting a trend, but like kind of like,
there's nothing new under the sun. So it's not like I created the concept of a Sunday fun day, but I think I kind of broke the barrier of, okay, this isn't something that grown folk can just do.
Yeah.
Even organizing it, it was like I had to find a spot to even do a Sunday fun day type event and lobby the owner and the managers of that venue and like try and get it to happen, because there are barriers I had to break down for that. To this day, that was the only time that Beer House ever allowed 18 plus
probably
instead
the
of
last
21
time
plus.
they'll go to. Man,
And like,
crazy.
I actually don't feel like they even, after, what's crazy is I sold all their food out. Majority of their bar was sold out.
That's good for them. Like,
And it's good for them, but to this day, when I go back in there and I try to talk to them about business, they don't rock with me, which is crazy.
I mean, it's crazy to think about that, man. That's something I think about, like, especially, I mean, I feel like in Dallas more so it's easier because there's just so much crowd. But in Lubbock, being out there in the West, like, there's only so much you can actually do when it comes to, like, throwing events, especially when you're working through clubs. Like, if you're working through, like, if it's someone that like, like someone that's more reasonable, knows how this goes. Like, if it's a party, like, that's different. But I feel like Beer House being a bar, it's like so, I feel like it's so hard for DJs in general when you're trying to do your own thing. And obviously you want your whole crowd to come out, because it's like, you have crowd like below 21. Like once you say like 21 and above, in Dallas you can survive, because it's like there's so many people in Dallas.
Money's coming in.
Yeah.
That's how they see it. Because if you're under 21, you can't do anything for me but buy food.
Yeah. But alcohol in Dallas is like crazy.
That's where you make the money.
But in Lubbock, it's like, if you say it's a college town, so if you say 21 and above, that's half the population gone.
Majority, because
like,
everyone that's above 21 is trying to graduate and get the fuck out.
Yeah, no one's trying to go out that much no more. Everyone's just trying to chill. So it's just like,
I'll say, there's difficulty there, but it teaches me a valuable lesson, which is if you want something done, you got to get it done yourself.
True.
There's not going to be, if it was that easy to just say, okay, let me just go somewhere, get it done, pay for it, and we're all good to go, then everyone would do it. Felt like there's a lot of leaders, few of my mentors, just by watching them, they've helped me realize that 9 times out of 10, if you want to do something that's actually worthwhile, you're gonna have to break down some doors or ruffle some feathers, because there's no. For example, in Lubbock, one manager basically manages the whole strip of Buddy Holly, which is where all the clubs are at. So if you're not in his good graces, it looks like you're shit out of luck. Bro. But there's always a way to make it happen. Yeah. Or if he's trying to charge you this or that, or if other organizations have already booked it, whatever it may be, it looks like you're shit out of luck. But that's what kind of throwing Also Sundays was like that experiment that I had to go through to know that, okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work on Buddy Holly, or this isn't gonna work in this situation, but I'm gonna find a way to make it happen. And I still get, that is what kind of drives me, that like creativity. That's where I feel like that's where I can do what other people can't, is like, not that they can't, but that's what drives me to do what people say you can't do, or nah, that won't work, because people tell you that.
I mean, like, I feel like when it comes to creativity, especially, like, you have your own vision for your own brand, your own thing, and like, obviously there's people who are like genuinely like giving you great advice, and like there's people who are looking out for you. Like, there's a difference between someone actually hearing you out and like saying, okay, if I say I want to do this, it's like, okay, it sounds kind of questionable, but let me hear what your plan is, what you have set up. And then after listening to everything, like, that makes sense. But there's also people who just be like, are you trying to do this? Nah, bro, that's not gonna work. And it's like, bro, you don't even know how I'm trying to go about it. And it's like,
I think with that, I'm the most overly analytical person I've ever met in my life. I'm always gonna think about things a million times before I even come to anyone else to ask them about it. And then so I realized I have to stop asking people, because with no malice, but it's like, I'm gonna know more about what I'm asking you about than anyone else would ever know. So it's like you almost have to drown out. Me personally, I have to drown out everything. Yeah. And decide if I feel like, if I'm convicted, then I have to just do it. Like me, I've spent a lot of time planning things and asking people, saying, oh, this might be an issue, this might be an issue. And then me being the person I am, I'm going to think about those issues a lot. I had to cut all that out and just try and make sure if I feel convicted, I feel like if it's going to work, I got to do it head on. I think that's how it works. 9 times out of 10, like, if you asking me about a podcast, I'm not gonna know as much as you. True. But if you ask me for advice, I'm gonna say, oh, this might not work. This might not work. But this is your field, not mine. So
another thing is, like, it's not even just like podcasts in general. Like, it's also like because everybody, like, do you know how many podcasts are in the world? Like, but if there's millions of podcasts in the whole world. Everyone has a different vibe for their podcast. Like, for example, All the Smoke, like, they're just out there, they're just vibing, like, they smoke on that podcast, like, that's their own vibe. No Chill, he's out here, roasting niggas, like, all that kind of stuff, that's his own vibe. Like, No Jumper, all these podcasts, $1 million worth of game, like, you see different, like, the way they have their own vibe for their podcast. Like, for example, if you watch $1 million worth of game, I feel like if you told someone, like, oh, before every podcast, my goal is just to, like, play some music and dance in the camera. People be like, what? Goofy. Like, who wants to watch that? Like, it's like, bro, we're here to watch you talk about shit that people want to hear about. We don't want to see you dance in the camera. But, like, that's, like, my favorite part of, like, the podcast watching now. Like, because it's just, like, it's just different. Like, so it's, like, your own vision, don't, like, my thing is, like, my biggest thing is don't flip and destroy your whole vision off getting advice from people. Like, take things that people tell you, like, with a grain of salt. Like, place them all on the table and be like, okay, I like what he said here, but I feel like this doesn't go with my vision. Because at the end of the day, your vision is your vision.
So I think relaying that to my DJing and event curation, that's the biggest thing I've had to learn, because the truth is no one wants to go out to a party anymore, especially past COVID. Yeah. It's not even a fear of, like, the health concern, but it's more so like, okay, I've spent a year away from going to the club and turning up, so I'm kind of good on it. So that puts you in a position that you have to do something different. Yeah. You can't just plan an event and say, oh, we're going to come, turn up, and we're going to drink, and we're going to have good music play. That's not enough. You have to do something that people are gonna leave and say, "Oh, this was an experience."
Yeah.
But it's not an experience if they've already lived it. That's why it's like you have to try and find a way to do something different. You can't really ask for too much advice because people can say, "Oh, that's weird," or "That's too different," or "That might not work because of this or because of that." But that's my biggest motivation right now, is just trying to find a way to switch it up.
Nah, that's
People
true,
remember you
bro,
for that.
bro. You got it, like because at the end of the day, bro, there's already somebody, like if there's already so many people doing this one thing, like it's okay to branch out. And I've always lived on this concept. I'll rather go through, like, listen to everyone's advice, make certain changes I feel like needs to be made, but going through my actual vision for something, I'd rather do that. And if it fails, I'll be like, at least I gave it everything I could. Like I knew I tried what I wanted to try and wanted to see the outcome of it. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to be. That's cool. Now learn from what happened in the past, like what happened from that event. If it was an advice someone gave me earlier, sure, take that. If it was something different I didn't even think about, take that. And it's like, it's okay to take risks. And another thing that, like, especially like in our new generation, a lot of people don't want to grind, bro. Like people really just want to be like, okay, I want to DJ. Okay, let me buy myself the most expensive turntables. And if you can afford it, that's cool. But it's like, I want to get this tables and immediately be DJing in Dallas at a big party. It's like, bro, like it doesn't work like that in anything in this world. Like it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. And it's like, tell me about, like, I guess working with like people or hearing people who would come up to you and like with that kind of mindset, or even how that might have crept up to you as you were an upcoming DJ right now.
So the turntables I learned to DJ on aren't even compatible with the, standard DJ program. There were some random turntables. It almost looked like a toy. If you were to pick it up, you would think it was a toy. No boost. I think learning how to mix properly on that first is probably what gave me the confidence to say, okay, I'm mixing on this. Like my first house party I did with that little bitty ass board that looked like a video game. So it's like, I think that gave me some more confidence to say, all right, bro, I'm turning it up with something that costs $150, and I'm seeing other DJs that have the actual vinyl that I'm doing better than. So it's like that kind of. I like to try not to buy equipment unless I absolutely have to, because then I feel like, I'm doing more or less, if that makes sense. But another thing you mentioned the word risk. That was one of the words I gave myself that I've really meditated on all year, because I feel like I do better when, I don't know, I feel like I'm risking something by trying to still do it post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Because, I don't feel like I've had a full period of like, I'm just on top.
Yeah.
But that makes me want to risk everything I have more, with every event you do, your name is on the line. Yeah. But it makes me want to like put it on the line more. If that makes sense. If you can't risk it, then you're just gonna stay where you're at.
Yeah, there's no fun in, like, it's like, bro, if you're just on top all the time with no competition, it's like, man, it gets boring. It's like every day I'm gonna come out here.
If you're on top all the time with no competition, that means you aren't forcing yourself to keep excelling. You're just complacent.
And it's like, you might also be putting yourself, like, because I feel like there's always a room for like competition. Like if you at that point where it's like, okay, I'm on top of Dallas now, at any phase, okay, why can't I try to be on top of, the South Side now,
Yeah.
Challenge myself. Well, I'm on top of the South Side. I mean, I can do that in the West. And like, you can just keep going until you take, or it's not necessarily it's being greedy, but being good greedy, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like being like greedy, like you don't care about the way it affects other people. It's more about like, I'm trying to get to the best position ever, because at the end of the day, bro, when it comes to like business and building your own brand, I learned this the hard way, bro. People are looking out for themselves first, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like the moment you start trying to be, especially if you're someone who's up and coming, the moment you start trying to be a mentor before you even got to like get to where you need to be is the beginning of your downfall. Because now like you haven't learned too much, but you're trying to like be like, oh yeah, you're trying to like make a team for yourself, and it's like, bro. And another thing that I learned through, like, it wasn't even through the pandemic. Like if I said this summer, if I had my way, like if I could go back and like change things, I would have waited till like January to start my podcast. Wow. Because like I feel like I could have done so much better. Like I feel like I could have just. I was so eager because I was like, but at the same
I
time,
don't believe that anymore because a lot of the mentors in my life have told me start where you are because there's no such thing as the right time.
okay, but my thing is not if it's not right time for me. It's more about like doing it the perfect way it's envisioned in my head.
There's no such
And
thing.
I'll explain to you how I mean because like it's like I'll rather like okay, here's the thing. Today I have this vision. My podcast is gonna be I want to do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather like give it some months or maybe like a month to like be like, okay, this is the equipment I want. Yes, I can afford this equipment, but I can afford this as closest to it or whatever. I don't have a studio to myself, okay?
Yeah.
So let me just have a table that I can place somewhere every time I do a podcast. But like, and then make a list of like people I want to interview. That's one thing I feel like I wasn't doing. Like I wasn't making a schedule. I was winging it.
But look, you're doing it now, right?
Yeah, but like I'm saying,
so
okay.
give me a second.
All right, go ahead.
I'm saying that because it's like bro, even in this moment right now, there's things that I have planned that I'm like, it's not the right time.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a procrastinator or like that's just perfectionist is just another word to say procrastinator.
I'm not even saying perfectionist though. I'm just saying I'd rather do shit the way it's supposed to be, like the way it's supposed to be done. It might not be exactly as envisioned, like the way I vision, like I have my podcast in my head is not where it is right now. You know what I'm saying?
If you're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. Shout out to Obi. One thing that he always says very loudly is fail forward, fail fast. If you're gonna do something, you're gonna fail regardless, no matter if you start today or tomorrow, or whether you have a list or not. If you start today though, you have a head start on the other version of you that waits another month and then starts failing a month after you were.
That makes a lot of sense though, because I said all that to say this at the end of the day. Yes, I wish I had waited a little bit, maybe not necessarily like too long, but waited a little bit from when I started. But at the same time, I feel like I learned so much from like what I went through.
Exactly.
Starting the whole thing. And it's like there's so much shit that I didn't know back then that I know now. And it's like there's so much shit that I know now or that I don't know right now that I'm gonna know in the next year and the year after. It's just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what I was kind of driving at when I say people are not patient to just go through that mud, that grind. Like, bro, when you think one person that I say motivates me to this day is Travis Scott. Bro, this dude dropped out of UTSA. He got kicked out of his parents' house, then was sleeping on the couch of his friend in LA. And all of a sudden now, Travis Scott sells out a whole arena. Like, have you seen? There's two things I saw. There's a concert of Travis Scott. He's doing a concert and there's like 20 people in the crowd.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
And it's not 20 people going crazy. It's 20 people like this.
Him.
And then there was another show that Travis Scott took all of them backstage. And they ended up doing the show backstage because there was so little people.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, like that's so much shit that like a lot of people don't really think about. They just want to they see the crowd now.
Anyone that's great has to go through that moment of truth where they're like,
do I want to do this shit?
It's like not just do I want to do it, but what am I willing to give up for it? Because like you said, he dropped out, got kicked out of his parents' crib. That's something you got to be willing to do. If there's no one, like greatness doesn't come by accident. Mm-hmm. You have to give. I think the number one attribute that great people have from what I've studied is the willingness to give everything away for what you want. So that's actually crazy deep.
That's what it has.
I don't like to be deep though.
But not like deep. Like not like, okay, I'm not trying to be like cliche, but that's literally how it is.
You have to give it, because think about it. Like, okay, so imagine me, right? This is something, I'm a student. I'm about to graduate in the fall. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think like, okay, for example, this is kind of a drastic example, but if I were to not go back to school this fall and focus 100% on DJing music, things could potentially go differently. Who knows who I'm going to bump into between now and December that I wouldn't if I'm in Lubbock.
That's true.
But, I mean, call me a hypocrite, but you have to be able to, you have to be willing to give up everything, I feel like. I've never, like, I spend a lot of time studying how the people that are in the position I want to be in, how they get there. And most of the time it's like, they said, nothing is going to stop me. Like, that's the one trait, is that determination, that drive, that, like, there's people, someone that's super intelligent and is not willing to sacrifice what they have won't get any farther than someone that has average intelligence or like whatever you want to call it, and is willing to say fuck everything.
Actually, you talking about meeting,
Excuse
like
my
going
language.
somewhere. I mean, bro, you just said
mean,
like 1,000 times. Now you were.
I meant to ask if we can curse.
Oh,
but
bro, it doesn't matter, bro. I don't really
my
care.
fault. My fault. I'm a sop.
But what do you mean yourself? Bro, I just said I don't care.
All right, come on.
But when you're talking about like going to random places and meeting people, or not going to random places, but you said you never know who you meet.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about your most. I want to say that's probably. Would you say like going to Seattle and DJing over there? It's like. Would you say it's the biggest thing you've done so far?
I would say going to Seattle. I've DJed larger parties than Seattle, but that was still the weekend that changed my outlook on DJing the most out of any other situation ever because of a few things. One, Bobby is a very gracious host, and he has a lot of wisdom that he's gonna just willingly give out.
Yeah.
Number two, there's that confidence boost when you go to a place, because I've been DJing in Texas my whole life, or since I've started, and I'm DJing to people. I know what they like. I know what they don't like. I've been DJing to. There's some people I've probably DJed in front of more than 50 times. So it's like
I'm probably one of them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, so it's like I know it's gonna get you going.
Yeah.
But then when you go to somewhere that's like
Seattle,
northwest,
you don't know what they like.
It's like it's a shot in the dark. But then that's where the skill of actually the main skill of being a DJ is being able to read the crowd.
Yeah. And
cater to their needs. So being in Seattle and being able to be in a room full of people that I've never met, may never meet again, have no idea what kind of things they like, and still rock it, that's like the biggest confidence boost I needed.
That is a big, like, when you put it that way, that makes a lot of sense, because it's like, well, you don't know, like, you probably know maybe a couple of people in that crowd, and those couple of people are probably people from Texas that you already knew from Texas.
Exactly.
So it's like, now you're in the whole Seattle, you don't know what they like. It's just like, I mean, I have an idea this is what they like, but I'm just like, I'm going to just, play. Because at the end of the day, in Texas, you play Playboy Cardi, everyone's going to go crazy. Gunna, everyone's going to go crazy. In Seattle, they might not like Gunna like that. They might think Gunna sucks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they might like, in certain places, they might not like certain music, but it's like, you just got to figure out. And there's no amount of studying that you can do that you can't really like.
I mean, you can study.
You can study like book, like you can study right before you DJ?
I think what I view as studying is like market research. When I got there on Friday, and I insisted that I go out just so I can see what is it that gets them going. What do they not like?
Yeah.
First of all, that's the biggest thing. What can I stay away from? But that's you can. But if you watch enough podcasts, you're gonna know.
Okay, so I know what you're saying. Like, but think about it this way too. If you go somewhere in Dallas where it's like older crowd or a certain crowd of people, there's gonna be a DJ there playing songs that you don't even fuck with, but the people out there are having a great time.
Oh, for sure.
So you see what I'm saying? So it's like I'm saying, like, you can study, but it's like even studying that much is not going to help you. Like, it's going to give you a much more comfortable vibe on stage. But I feel like even as a podcast, like doing podcasts, like I interview new people all the time. I don't know what they want to talk about. Like, I don't know what they're cool with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like me looking at other podcasts and all that stuff, that helps me. But at the end of the day, if I'm watching all those podcasts, I'm not interviewing that very guest that I just watched on the TV. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do I go about this guest? Like, I know so much I know how to greet the person. I know what to ask the person, how to phrase the questions. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, there's still times where I just have to be like on my feet and think about it. Because even when you talk about like to the nitty gritty, like if you're a football player, like you practice all the time, you run routes, all that stuff. Like, you could have a play. You're running a 10-yard in, right? That 10-yard in might just all right, my bad. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. But like, just think, like, you're running a route that is scheduled to, like, okay, you run this route this very time the ball's coming to you.
Yeah.
The linebacker steps up. Now what? But it's like, okay, there's a peak point in the game where it's like, we need to get this first down, or we need to get this touchdown. So now you can't be like, oh shit, I'm gonna just keep running the in until I get open. You got to improvise, and that's what separates like the good from like the great from the good. Because it's like, okay, the good is gonna run that route and be like, at least I did what I did the way it should have been done right. There's not much I can do. But the great is gonna be like, I ran this in. My quarterback is not sacked yet, which means he can still throw the ball. and I'm obviously not open, so I'm going to cut out and try to find an open place so he can give me the ball. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then me personally, I'm gonna pretend like I know exactly what you're talking about. But as someone that doesn't watch many sports, it's like, okay. But nah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
You have to be able to improvise, change on the fly. That's a very important skill in life, whether you're trying to do anything like creative or trying to take a path lesser traveled, or if you're just an employee, which is obviously like, that's another acceptable route. Yeah. But like, even in the workforce, I'm trying to get a job right now, or by the time I graduate. And I'll be in these interviews, they ask me a question that I did not study for.
Man, you telling me, bro, they ask you random questions, bro. Like, the funny thing about job interviews is like, you know, growing up, at least like in high school, freshman in college, when they say, tell me about yourself, you expect to be like, oh yeah, I'm from Plano, Texas. I went to Texas Tech. It's like, bro, they don't care about that shit. That's not what they're talking about. They say, tell me about yourself. It's like job interviews are like, they will humble you, bro. Like they'll mess your brain up and you're just like, bro, I don't even know what you want me to say to this kind of question.
Though, the career search has very interestingly prepared me for like DJing. Because I'm learning how to get, right now my task, I'm restructuring, I feel like, in terms of the business side of things. There's more like this whole summer, I've been getting booked a lot. I've been told no a lot. I think for most of those no's, I would have got a yes if I was presenting things differently.
Yeah.
Now I've learned what it means to prepare before you go talk to someone. Now I have a press kit. I'm building a website. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. These are the important things that you can get booked. Like, that's the difference between where I'm at now and where I want to be. I can do a club. I can do, those are the easiest gigs to really get. Those are the ones that people are going to think matter the most, but those are the easiest gigs to get. If you know one promoter, you're going to get bookings all week long. But the things that I'm trying to get into, you need to have that professional aspect to the business. Yeah. To where you can go up to, for example, Texas Tech athletics and say, look, I'm the one you should be hiring for all the game days. Yeah. Or you go up to a venue, you go up to American Airlines, you say, for this intermission, I'm the one that should be DJing. Yeah. Those are the different styles. It's levels. And the job search, me trying to get a job and me having to tweak my resume for a year straight and me going through all these interviews and me getting told no for this reason or this reason.
You just got to change that every time.
You gotta transfer that knowledge into DJing or whatever your craft is. And it'll help a lot. I know so many talented people that have been in the same spot because of their professionalism.
True. That is not.
You can't scale unless your back end is able to.
Yeah. At the end of the day, man, professionalism come in so many ways. Like no one, like even in the game of rap, that yes, obviously professionalism is not wearing a suit or whatever, but it's like
you'll be surprised.
I mean, I'm not even like I'm saying like a DJ is not gonna want to work like a guy who has a recording studio is not gonna want to work with a guy who's consistently always like flaking in and out, like doesn't keep communication, all that kind of stuff. Like obviously we're human beings. You could be late at certain times, like, but it's about keeping that communication. You know what I'm saying? But like. That's part of professionalism. Like saying, "Oh, I know we're scheduled for this time, but I can't make it at this time. Can we move it to this time while I'm running late?" You know, some rappers just be like, they just don't say anything. They just show up to the studio high, cooked as hell, and it's like they're still good. They're still gonna eat that hoe, but it's like that doesn't mean that producer wants to work with you as much because it's like, bro, you're wasting my time. You know what I'm saying?
I think, okay, because yes, you're right, but there's also a base level of courtesy, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, that you should have for the people around you, in my opinion. Like, that's just you being a good person. You not wasting other people's time. Yeah. And you realizing, okay, this studio manager does not enjoy when I smoke it out. Yeah. So I'm not going to smoke it out. Yeah. It's like, that's one of those things that you just have to keep in mind. Yeah. That's not... there's like two sides of professionalism, but I think that side that you're talking about is more so courtesy. Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a part of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's two sides. There's still a part of it. And it's like I feel like that's the basic stuff that you should already know. Yeah, that's the basic.
That's like some people don't even do that, you know. But I mean, it is what it is. To close this podcast out, so it's been a long summer, right?
Yes, sir.
We've had some few albums.
Yes,
Shit,
sir.
not even the summer. Let's just say the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best album of the year so far? If you are at the whatever awards right now and they say, Osagie, you're the one picking the album of the year today, what are you picking?
Well, okay, first of all, you're asking me a day before Donda drops. So that's not fair because we might be getting album of the year tomorrow.
Well, it's today. Let's say today is December 31st. So now let's imagine this is December 31st. So Donda's not dropping to January 1st.
All right,
So
look,
it doesn't
right?
count.
Look, my issue with best is because there's no best in my heart, at least. And I don't think in most people that we can have a best. So how do you classify what's the best?
Okay, so how about this? Go with your favorite number one, and then you can go with like the hottest album. Because at the end of the day, there's no best, but there's a hottest album.
Okay, so I can't tell you the best or my favorite. I don't have favorites.
Oh God.
I'm being honest, but because there's different moods that I need different music for. That's the truth about it. When it comes to an album that I play a lot, I'm still listening to The Voice of the Hero a lot for some reason.
Okay.
I actually was not I was anticipating it. I got it. I was like, okay, it's normal.
I haven't listened to it that much. I won't lie to you.
You should, bro. I mean, it's up to you. But 2 weeks went by, and I said, let me listen to it again. And since then, I haven't stopped. But I feel like it's hard to say the hottest album. It's hard to even say, like, what's crazy is there's no real song of the summer.
Bro, what are you doing, man? Give me something, bro. Bro, give me something.
Look, bro, look.
Just say say something, bro.
Look, all right. This is
Why Sell Records?
I must have put my phone out. I must have really looked and see because I hate this question, and people expect me to know this because I'm a DJ, but there is no answer.
All right, okay. How about this?
Okay,
Let's scratch
look.
it.
I'll say one of the hottest. Man, you got me slumped, man.
Hey, bro. Anyways.
But 2 albums, let me give out some honorable mentions at least. Some music that I've been really enjoying lately. Voice of the Heroes album. Vince Staples by Vince Staples. Right. That's a great album. Another album that I've really been enjoying is, you guys give me time. I'm sorry.
Can y'all run that commercial real quick?
Nah. And it's so crazy because this whole year I've actually been listening to a lot of old music. Yeah, I've been revisiting like a lot of 50 Cent stuff, a lot of Pharrell and the Neptunes.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm the kind of guy that listens to this day. I still listen to NWA's album, the first album. Like, I'm very into like 80s, 90s rap here and there. I'm not gonna listen to it every day, but like there's just some days I listen to that hoe.
I don't listen to a lot of old music, but I go through phases.
I listen to everything. Like, I listen to some rock music, some like random ass music. I listen to them, but like obviously I won't listen to them every day or every week. Just random times I'll be like, I just remember that song. I'm just gonna play it. But like, I'm a type of person that I can truly say I listen to any single type of music. Like, if you check my playlist, you will see the most random songs on there that you might not know. You might know. You're just like, bro, what is this?
I'm gonna be honest with you though. I've heard too many people say that, and then I play a song, and they're like, "What is this?" I mean,
I just know every song. I say
so many
different.
They'll be like,
"Oh, this sucks."
I'm not trying to hear that.
I mean, they might not like the specific song.
Bro, come on now.
Like, bro, just because I listen to some rock doesn't mean like if you play some hard ass metal rock, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I might not like that. So what I'm saying?
I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. The niggas that be like, bro, I listen to everything. One person that I know will listen to anything is Malik.
Okay.
But outside of him, people be like, I listen to everything. My music taste is so diverse. Bro, they listen to Tame Impala sometimes. And then suddenly their music taste is so diverse, man. I'm tired of the cat.
Bro, you know what? After this, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. I have an African playlist, I have a rap playlist, I have R&B, I have random ass rock music. Like, I listen to anything, but I'm not saying like I'm going to like every single type. Like, I might listen to rock, but I might only like 10 songs, like 10 rock songs. Like, you know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna like every single rock song that you play for me.
I will say I'm trying to expand my taste.
Yeah, 'cause
Although
you never know where you have to DJ, bro. Like that's another thing.
I mean, yeah, I do. I turn down bookings where I feel like I'm not well equipped.
For real?
Yeah, because why am I gonna DJ for your party? And so really what I do is it depends. If it's not way too far off from what I'm used to, then I'll be able to study for like, if you book me, at least that week of, I'm going to practice a lot what I know you're gonna want to hear. But I can't tell you that when I was DJing on Broadway in Lubbock, and I'm DJing at Atomic, and I'm DJing at Crickets.
This dude was bugging.
Bro, I mean, they pay. That's the thing. They pay better. But I had to kind of learn, okay, maybe I should play some Frank Sinatra here because there's a remix that they like, or I should play Tiesto because that EDM should be going crazy sometimes too. It depends.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I had to learn it. But I was actually in the gym a couple days ago. I was listening to Tiesto. I was like, hey, this EDM shit go crazy.
You were pumping.
I'm not going to hold you.
You were going hard in the gym listening to EDM, bro.
What I'm learning is a lot of what works in one genre, you can make it work in rap. You just have to find a way to adapt it. If you listen to the song Money Longer, that's actually an EDM beat. Or it has a lot of elements of an EDM beat. But the way they produced it and then put Lil Uzi on it, it's now a rap song.
Yeah. It's really more of the
but
now.
if you notice, that song when you play it, and you play that song at shows or you watch videos of him performing it, the whole crowd is going crazy. Little do they know they listen to EDM music.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like there's like it's just kind of like, you know, like dubstep. Like, you know how like there's a rap music, just switch that hoe up. Some of them are trash, but like there's some of them that you're actually hearing, you're like, dang, they actually did a good job on this.
Yeah.
But I mean, music is subjective. I've always thought that. Like
I've spent a lot of time on YouTube. Is my best friend. I don't lie to you. I spend a lot of time on YouTube.
The greatest creation in the world.
Just listening, watching all these different kind of documentary style videos on how music is being made. There's so much to this music shit that you really have to dedicate hours. You have to really make that 10,000 hours just to put it in. Like at a certain level, there's not enough songs to sample that are in English, for example. You gotta start going to these other countries, listening to different kind of music.
I never thought that far before. Yeah.
Yeah. If you listen to a lot of the samples that are in popular songs, a lot of them are from the most crazy spots. Like, you won't even know. Whoopty, for example, that is an Indian song that they sampled on that.
I could believe that for sure.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
But that's to say that you can't box yourself into what your people know. Like, that's how you stay stagnant. Like, when you stay in that mode of comfort and you're like, okay, let me find an R&B song to sample. I've heard a million R&B samples before. They can go, but when you hear a song like Whoopty and you're like, whoa, first of all, where the hell did they get this sample? And number two, that's, drill is relatively new still. Like, that style of drill, New York drill, is like, someone had to get that from somewhere else. Someone was in the UK or was listening to grime and was like, I think American rappers can rap over this type of beat too. Yeah. But it takes someone that's willing to take that step out of what's comfortable and what's not cool. That's the truth about it.
And then it becomes cool after.
It becomes cool.
That's how rap started in general. Like, they didn't want to play gangster. They didn't want to play like music where they're using heavy cuss words on the radio. But like NWA and like people like that took that next step and they were like, you don't want to hear this? That's cool. We still gonna make it, and you gonna hear it regardless. Now, how many rap music do you know that they don't cuss in?
They had a severe case of not caring. Like,
they did not, like, especially like people like, you have people like Ice Cube, Eazy-E, like, bro. If you see interviews with Ice Cube, bro, Ice Cube didn't care at all. Like, he literally didn't care. He literally wrote a music talking about fuck the police. Like, bro, come on, like that shit that you don't see happening, like, like. But at the end of the day, like, whether everyone's going to have their own perspective of the music. Some people are going to think that's bad. Some people are going to think that's good. Regardless, the majority thinks that's live. Or, like, regardless, there's going to be a crowd that rocks with that whole more than, everybody else. And that's really what, like, there's a music for everybody.
There's always going to be a crowd. You got to think, we have the internet now. So, Jack Butcher, if you look him up, he's like a contemporary thought leader, but he opened my eyes to the fact that back then, or prior to the internet and what we have now, like with social media, you had to try and build the widest fan base you possibly could.
Yeah.
But now with the internet, you can quite literally stay in your lane and just build up.
Yeah.
There's going to be enough people that like that weird niche that you're in to fund your lifestyle and turn you into a star. And you don't have to, conform to what most people will like anymore. You can have, there's on TikTok's the best example. On TikTok, you can make a TikTok of you cleaning. Like there's a million TikToks now of people just cleaning. And there are enough people that like watching someone clean to where it's a trend.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing that used to exist, but since we have the internet, we have social media, we're able to create anything. You should create whatever you like, and there's gonna be enough people that like it too.
All right, man. To close this out, top 5 rappers dead or alive for you.
For me,
Yeah.
Okay. People the old heads might hear this and get mad at me, but
I mean, it don't matter. It's you.
of course. But most of my influences are relatively young.
Okay.
In no order. So we're saying rappers
Or musicians, whichever.
or musicians, but just my top 5, like as in, okay. So here's why I'm asking that because there's people that I feel like fit in the lane of producer that I really draw a lot of influence from and I'm a fan of. There's rappers. And then there's like Drake isn't the best rapper, but he's still in my top 5. But to keep it short, Drake, Travis Scott. Well, okay. Drake, Kanye West, Pharrell.
It's different.
He's a pioneer. Drake, Kanye, Pharrell. I would say, so I have 2 more spots.
You just kicked my boy Travis out, bro.
Yeah. I mean, not yet though. Jay-Z, so I have 1 more spot.
All right.
Jay-Z is very important to me.
Jay-Z is very important to
For
hip hop in general, I don't lie.
Yeah. This is such a boring top 5 to me, but that's hard. I want to give it to Travis, but a lot of the traits I like in Travis, he got from Kanye. Metro Boomin. Metro Boomin for sure, because I draw a lot of inspiration from him and like that run he was on. It's 2 parts of him. That run that he was on from, what was it, maybe like 2014 to really until he retired. That was a crazy run. He was on the top 10, occupying like 3-4 spots at a time.
He has been going crazy. Like he was going crazy.
And then also I respect his dedication to the art form. He doesn't care. Like he retired to focus on how can I make an album the best it can be, not have it focus on being just hits. And he did that. And that's what I really admire about what Metro Boomin does.
That's true.
So he has to get a spot in my top 5 for sure.
True. All right, man. Appreciate you for coming out here, bro. This has been a great conversation. We gonna talk about that Travis shit though, because I'm not really rocking with that. But appreciate you for coming out, man. It's been a great time in the studio. Appreciate it. Shout out to Mainfield Recording Studios for letting me use your space today. Really appreciate y'all.
Hey, and before we go, I'd like to shout out you, first of all, for having me on the show. I was reluctant at first because I don't feel too comfortable talking in front of people sometimes, but I'm trying to get out of my shell. Another thing, what do I shout out? Hey, everybody
who's putting some work in the podcast, and you in this studio, anything.
Hey, yeah. But for real, thank you to anyone that is currently supporting me. I don't think I have fans. I have supporters. Yeah. I have friends. I have family. Thank you all. But that's my backbone. So Thank you, though, again, for having me.
No problem, bros. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all make sure to go check out Pass the Rock on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Yes, we are now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You know, we going up. But appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all make sure to go check out YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you want me to interview anybody or any debate topics. that being said, guys, peace out.